Alrighty, what have we got here? A very orange kingdom. So we got Bazaar for a village, also kind of Sailor, especially with this many orange cards. There's a lot of durations that Sailor can play for you. Draw, mainly Wharf, also Sea Witch, and Monkey. Monkey's pretty strong. Sailor's the thinning, Wharf is plus buy, and there's also Blockade for gains. Got everything we need. Definitely want to build a big engine here, and then you get to the point where you're playing Outpost and taking 2 engine turns. With Wharf, you're probably not deading on the Outpost turn. How to open? First instinct says Blockade Silver. Sailor also, I think, would be a pretty reasonable opening. In general, I think if there's another 4 you want, I'd rather just open with Blockade and gain the 4. Blockade's really strong, among the best, maybe the best of the workshop variants. That being said, Sailor is actually kind of doing a similar thing to Blockade here. Like, there are duration cards costing all the way down to 2. So almost certainly, whatever amount of money you have in the same hand as Sailor, you can use it to immediately play a Haven or a Monkey or something, and also get some immediate value out of Sailor on top of Sailor trashing. So I think Sailor straight away, like Sailor Monkey would be the other opening. I think would look pretty reasonable. Blockade Silver or Sailor Monkey. I think I'm a big fan of Blockade, and the argument I would make for Blockade is there's a lot more value in having Sailor in a hand with like 4 or 5 and playing another Sailor or a Blockade or a Wharf. And I think Blockade into Sailor in a 6-card hand is much more likely to hit one of those higher numbers like this, as opposed to just Sailor plus 4 other cards. You're more likely to be hitting 2 or 3. 2 especially, I think, would be kind of a disappointment. Sailor playing Monkey wouldn't be so bad. Let's just play another Blockade, gain another Sailor. Sea Witch, okay. I could take a Sea Witch as well. I think I prefer just straight into Wharf, to be honest. Sea Witch is a strong card. I think taking a Sea Witch or 2 and then moving into the Wharf would be pretty reasonable, but I think you naturally want the Sailors here anyway for reasons unrelated to trashing. Just needs decent payload and a village effect. And so I think I'm alright with passing up one Sea Witch and just going straight into... And Wharf is just such a strong card. It's a lot of draw. And if Sea Witch were competing against a weaker card, it'd be a lot easier to justify taking a Sea Witch. But saying no to Wharf is pretty hard. I have 2 monkeys in play. It's a lot of monkeys. Okay, so I've got some terminal collision here. Can kind of resolve it doing this. Blockade, play Sailor. So there's a bit of a downside here. If the card gained by Blockade gets put into play, like just happened there, the set aside is going to fail. So I'm not going to have it at the start of my next turn. I'm not going to get the cursing effect. Blockade's not going to stay in play. So Blockade is basically just a workshop here. Didn't come with any of the other benefits. But I got to play the Blockade, play the Sailor, and still have an action left over to play this Wharf. And I think Outpost already. I think my deck can support this. And if I'm taking a whole other turn, the bottom deck is going to be in its hand, so not really a downside just adding another card here at this point. Like if I had 1 buy for the turn, I think I would for sure not buy a Haven when the bot has 2 monkeys in play. Like, that wouldn't be worth it. I expect by the end of my Outpost turn, the bot's going to have its deck drawn anyway. Okay. Set aside a Sailor. Now I would rather just have that in hand next turn than play it now, I think. Not sure if that's true. And probably a Wharf. I don't have any duration draw coming in. Well, I don't know what's in these bottom 10 cards, but I don't think it's great. My Wharf is in play. My outpost is in play. I would like to find those. Maybe we'll just do this. Set aside one extra card. Take a Bazaar. I'm not sure. I would have loved to put a Wharf into play to have 2 extra draw coming in, but it seemed like a nasty shuffle to trigger. Possibly Monkey could have been the play as well. Get a Monkey into play. Monkey Sailor. Yeah, that was probably the correct answer, I think. I was a little too dead set on hitting 5, I suppose. That's probably why I overlooked it, because the 5's here are good. But I probably should have just gotten a Monkey into play to minimize the chance of studding here. I think it's worth taking an Outpost, just because that's a whole ass extra turn. I don't really need 2 outposts to the long term, but I need 1 right now. With as many sailors as I have, I could take some extra blockades for free here. Like blockade gains blockade, play blockade gains blockade, etc. I'm not sure I want more blockades, given that I think I'm a little bit light on villages right now. I don't know what that bottom card is. Could it be my silver? I have a silver in the deck. I haven't shuffled since I played it, it doesn't look like. It's not the silver, okay. If it would have got me to 5, I would have gained a haven and tried to draw the silver. Maybe I'm doing that anyway. Yeah, actually, let's just take 2 havens. This triggers a shuffle, but I've just set aside an outpost, so it resolves the problem of my other outpost missing. Maybe 2 outposts aren't so bad after all. I need more Bazaars, I think is where I'm slacking here. Sailor's almost empty. Haven's fairly low. Curses could run. Probably not that fast. The bot's only got the 1 witch. Okay. I don't really know what I want here. Just take a silver, I guess. And for sure playing a Wharf, because I don't have plus buy. And take a Bazaar. Oops, that's not the card I meant to play. A very fortunate copper draw. The bot still doesn't have an outpost. So the bot has way too many cards in hand. It's already drawn its deck, and all of this is going nowhere. I guess the bot easily draws its whole deck just playing a monkey, with as many cards as getting gained off of blockade across multiple outpost turns, or multiple turns with outpost, a singular outpost turn. But then if it gains outpost, which like you really need an outpost to take full advantage of this kingdom, because 2 turns is better than 1 turn. That's just math. And if your draw is all coming from Monkey, and then you play an Outpost, well, you're going to have 3 cards from the Outpost turn, and Monkey's not going to help you there. And then you're going to dud, and you're not going to get your Monkeys into play, and you're also not going to draw on the next turn. So I think a deck that's overly reliant on Monkey is going to crash and burn with Outpost. So the bot's in a little bit of a sticky situation in that respect. Okay, here we go. Feel like my deck should have been working sooner than it was. I've probably not played this optimally, but now we're getting places slowly but surely. Okay, got 12 to work with. Gotta watch out for piles. Blockade's very low. Sailor's fairly low. I don't know why I said Sailor was less low than Blockade. Well, not Blockade, Bazaar. Everything about that sentence was wrong. Let me start over. Bazaar is low. Sailor is even lower. Wharf is fairly low. Haven is low. So probably I need to score on the Outpost turn. Because I do want to take Bazaars. I think my deck needs more village effects. I can't say no to that. Not sure what else I want here. Merchant Ship kind of costs 3 when you think about it, because I can put it into play immediately. That's actually not unreasonable. Like, the one thing this kingdom is not amazing at is having payload. How many Sailors have I played? A bunch, right? Yeah. So maybe go Merchant Ship, play it, Blockade, play it. Can a Sailor? Don't want to lower that much. Maybe not that much. Also, given that I've been struggling a little bit with villages, I like the idea of having a Sailor in the pile so I can do the Blockade gain Sailor thing. Actually, that's not that important, because if I needed the village effect off of Blockade, I could also get a Haven. So that part was actually probably relevant. So I definitely want to score here. 11. This is 16 if I don't set aside the copper. Let's get a monkey into play. I feel like I should probably be able to pile out next turn. I think the bot's problem is it just has way too much draw. Like this deck is already in hand before it resolves any of this stuff. Like the Sea Witch is actually attacking itself because you don't get the draw, but you do have to discard afterwards. That's not really a problem here because you can resolve Sea Witch first and then Wharf and redraw the cards, but it's kind of funny that the Sea Witch is just forcing to discard cards. Yeah, Monkey is a lot. Monkey Kingdoms can be very awkward. And here, I don't think it's super important because you can just play with the other cards like Wharf and be fine. But I find Kingdoms where Monkey is the main draw can be really tricky because if you try to build a big deck and your opponent just puts a pair of monkeys in their deck and then plays a monkey and then shoves it full of payload and then you build your engine, you draw them like 20 cards and then they're just buying provinces. But then if you both do that, neither of you is drawing enough cards to cause the other person to draw. It's really toxic. Here, Monkey is just kind of supplementary draw, which I don't think it has quite the same dynamic. Okay, so I already got a points lead. Apparently I needed more draw. I could have added more Wharfs here at some point. Like now. Let's do the thing. Morph. 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 Can I hit 5? This would be a struggle. I think I might get there. It's gonna be close. What else can I pile out? Havens? And the wharf as promised. I don't know that I played that optimally. Like, there were turns where I was not drawing my deck. I feel like the number of bazaars and wharves I was taking at various points was probably not quite right. Like, you really should be drawing reliably with just a bunch of wharfs. I'm not sure exactly where it went awry. Maybe I got too distracted by some of this other stuff and just didn't click bazaar wharf reliably enough. I'm not sure. I mean, it worked out just fine. But it felt a little bit sloppy at points. The bot, I think I don't believe in the Sea Witch. I mean, again, it's a reasonable card. I don't think it's doing enough to justify not just having an extra wharf in the deck. And it's way undervaluing Sailor and Blockade. The fact that it still has 6 coppers is obviously a problem. Actually, is the 6 coppers even indicative of a problem? Like, the bot just had a whole deck in its hand anyway, so maybe that wasn't the bot's main issue. But it looks like it just took 1,000,000 bazaars and then never had an outpost. Yeah, I don't know that I believe in the bot's deck here.